Oh, how's that? Okay.
Welcome to First Mover, your first global look at today's action in the Bitcoin, blockchain, and digital asset space. I'm your host, Christine Lee, and joining me are my co-host, CoinDesk Managing Editor of Global Capital Markets, Lawrence Lewitinn, and Managing Director of International Content, Emily Parker. All right, good morning, you two.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Very well. All right, so, I'm looking ahead to Consensus is next week. We've been promoting it all week long. Really excited. Lawrence, tell us, what are you looking forward to at Consensus?
Ray Dalio. I mean, this is the number one hedge fund manager in the world, over $100 billion in assets. There is no bigger hedge fund manager than Ray Dalio. This is a guy who's been focusing on the role of the dollar as reserve currency, the rise of China. He's been writing about this nonstop, prolifically, about all these issues. He's going to be talking to Michael Casey. And I'm sure it's going to be an incredible discussion. And then also Larry Summers, who was Secretary of the Treasury. He was Obama's economic advisor, World Bank chief economist, president of Harvard, very smart guy. He was also an advisor to President Biden when President Biden was running. He's come out really with some harsh words over the past few months about President Biden's fiscal stimulus, about monetary stimulus from the Fed, and the threat of inflation. This is somebody who's doing it. This is somebody who's not exactly a libertarian when it comes to economics, but he's really worried about the inflation effects of all these things. Even though he's for a lot of the government programs, he just thinks it's too much. So it's going to be really interesting to hear what he has to say about the economy and also about inflation. I think the underlying theme in both of these guys speaking next week, it seems to be the role of the dollar in the economy and what it means. And obviously for crypto people, the value of the dollar dictates the value of crypto. So it's really, these are the two of the smartest people you'll probably find anywhere. And they're going to be speaking at Consensus next week. So I think everyone should be tuning in.
Definitely. And I think, Lawrence, you mentioned that you were editing a newsletter or an article that the overhanging theme is inflation. So that'll be interesting. And I'll be moderating a panel with MasterCard and Gemini, and that's happening next Wednesday. It'll be interesting to learn how firms are bridging the traditional financial system with the digital economy. Emily, what are you looking forward to?
Well, I second everything that Lawrence just said. That was very comprehensive. But in addition to that, there's Lael Brainard from the Fed's Board of Governors. And what I'd be interested to see if she's going to address this issue of central bank digital currencies, which are being explored all over the world. And in particular, if the U.S. is seriously considering a digital dollar anytime soon.
Very cool. All right. Well, with that, let's check in on Bitcoin. The CoinDesk Bitcoin price XBX index is currently trading at 40,560. Bitcoin is down about 3.4% over the past 24 hours. And the ETX Ether price index right now is 2662. ETH is down, taking a bit more of a hit at 9% over the past 24 hours. The most reliable reference prices for institutions since 2014 are now published under the CoinDesk brand, trusted globally as the leader in crypto news, events, and data. Several crypto exchanges are reporting outages amid high trading volumes in the crypto markets, exposing the fragility of the nascent industry, according to some critics. Joining us now to discuss is Bittrex Interim CEO Stephen Stonberg in Philadelphia. Welcome, Stephen.
Hi, how do you do? Thanks for having me here today. So I'm pleased to announce Bittrex and Bittrex Global. We did not have an outage, so we're not luckily too fragile.
All right. Well, that was my next question. Coinbase, Kraken, they're experiencing outages amid big trading volumes. And it's very frustrating as the volatility in the crypto markets is the exact time when users want to sell or buy. And so I'm wondering, is the infrastructure vulnerable out there?
Well, I think like with any, I can't speak for competitors. I would say typically on these big volume trading days, in Bittrex, we're not the biggest. We are a very secure exchange. It's one of the oldest exchanges. It's never been hacked. We tend to not have outages during these big volume, and it was a big volume for us during the, especially compounded by the fact that the other exchanges were out. So can't speak for competitors, but clearly, having a robust infrastructure is important.
And Stephen, Stephen, you're new to Bittrex. You're just stepping in as the interim CEO. I wonder, what is your vision for the exchange going forward?
So I'm actually not new to Bittrex. I've been here for 2.5 years. I was the CFO and COO of Bittrex Global, which is the non-US part of Bittrex. So we have all of our offshore non-US clients. But I think our vision is just continued growth. We're very much focused on regulation and security. So we're regulated for the non-US part of the exchange in Liechtenstein under the Blockchain Act. We also have a license in Bermuda under the Digital Assets Business Act, where we're offering securities token trading. Obviously, we have a US only exchange, which is highly regulated in all the different states. So, we're not about being the biggest. We want to be regulated, safe, and we have innovation. So we have about 400 different tokens, which we think is quite a lot. And we also have security token trading under Bermuda, which very few exchanges offer.
Stephen, about some of those tokens. So now you're offering tokenized equities, is that correct? Why would you offer shares and, it's already traded on U.S. exchanges? Why not offer tokenized versions of other assets such as, say, bonds or mortgage-backed securities and things like that, where there aren't that many opportunities for retail investors to invest in?
Sure, of course. So absolutely. I think the cool thing about securities tokens, you can tokenize anything. I mean, you can really innovate the way we do finance. So if I'm a real estate person, instead of doing a REIT, I can just take a pool of real estate, put it in a token, list it on an exchange, and it's global. So that's hugely innovative, Amazon moment for financial services. But right now, the things we've listed to date, and we just got started. So we've got tokenized Apple, Google, Tesla, some of those stocks. So those are U.S. stocks. Remember, our clients are non-U.S. So if I'm sitting in certain countries, it's not that accessible for a lot of people to buy U.S. stocks. They could take a piece of a Bitcoin, buy a piece of a fractional stock 24/7, all regulated through our exchange. That doesn't exist right now. So you're actually giving access. So go ahead.
Are you worried about raising a flag with U.S. regulators? Are you worried that they
no? So we don't. So the part of Bittrex that we have no U.S. passports, regardless of residence, no U.S. residents, regardless of passport. So you can onboard onto our exchange. Are part of Bittrex if you are a U.S. person. So we don't have any U.S. nexus on purpose. But we do have, again, we're fully regulated in the jurisdictions in which we operate.
Along those lines, Stephen, the former CEO, Tom Albrecht, I believe it was, he believed in having stocks on the Bittrex platform that had been delisted by other platforms, like at Robinhood when the whole GameStop phenomenon happened and they suspended purchases of GameStop as well as AMC and related stocks. And at that time, Tom had said that, well, at Bittrex, we're going to offer those stocks that are delisted. Is that in that same spirit? Is that something that you believe in as well?
Absolutely. We did that, and again, there was nothing, the stocks that were still trading, it was just Robinhood decided to stop trading them. So I think, the crypto community tends to be quite libertarian and we believe in free markets. So I think, and it was exposed that Robinhood was really just a front for Ken Griffith. So I think that we had no problem, and we will continue to do things where it's about democratization, access, and active trading.
To follow up on the regulation question, Bittrex was involved in the past with a market manipulation case. Can you just tell us what the status is of that? Is that completely resolved?
I couldn't comment on that. That's to do with our U.S. business. I believe it's resolved, but I can't comment.
And just on the larger issue of regulation worldwide, do you have the sense that regulations on exchanges are tightening? Because, as the market is booming and more government officials are sort of getting nervous about crypto, is your impression that the regulations are just getting tighter on exchanges all over the world?
Well, I think the regulations exist. The way I talk about it, so it's financial services. It's regulated. The rules are clear. Just because you are settling a trade on the blockchain doesn't mean you don't fall under those rules. I think half of the crypto industry believes that the rules don't apply to them. And I think we're starting to see there's a lot of investigations and enforcement actions. I would expect that to continue to escalate. So it's really about just the regulators enforcing the rules that are there. I can't speak for competitors. I can speak for us. We want regulation. We chose to be in the EU because the regulations are much more clear than in the US. And for our non-US business, we want very clear regulation. That's why we're in Europe.
Yeah, I think generally most people agree that some degree of regulation is necessary. But do you think there's the danger of over-regulation? You know, as crypto sort of booms all over the world and governments get nervous, do you think that could happen?
I think, again, you always have that in new businesses. And, I've been around, so I was in the credit derivatives market, and that wasn't regulated. Derivatives in general weren't regulated. So I think they tend to be, these markets happen very quickly. The regulators can't keep up. And when they do catch up, they tend to overreach. And then it's sort of like a pendulum swings back in the middle. And I think we're kind of in the bit where they've not done enough. They're going to probably overreach, and then it will settle back.
So one country in Europe that you guys aren't trading in right now is Ukraine. It's because you fear sanctions if you allow customers in Crimea to trade. The government of Ukraine has offered a way for you guys to offer trading in Ukraine without necessarily servicing Crimea, but they say they haven't heard back from you. Why not? Why aren't you guys responding to the Ukrainian government to offer trading? And are you getting any pressure from, say, Russia?
No, there's no pressure from Russia. I think, again, with all of it, I can't possibly comment on the specifics of this, but, in general, we're very much subject to the FMA in Liechtenstein, which is supervising us. That's the bank regulator, and they supervise us under the Blockchain Act. So obviously, and that's an EU bank regulator, we comply with all of the sanctions list, countries list that apply.
But the Ukraine itself has said, hey, look, we can offer this. We're the aggrieved country in this situation because Russia's occupying Crimea. So, and we're reaching out to you, please.
Right.
We want you
the
to
other limiting factor as well. Don't forget, we also have fiat on ramps and rails. So even if the bank regulator allows it in Ukraine, of course, we would love to. We want to be in as many countries as we possibly can, but also the banks sometimes put these countries on their list. So if we were to trade with them, we would lose our banking relationship. So again, don't know the specifics here. I do know it came up. I do know that we came to a decision. Obviously, we'll review the situation, and as soon as it's feasibly possible, we'd love to be back there. Great country.
All right. Well, Stephen, thank you for joining us this morning and sharing your insights and giving us an update on Bittrex.
Thank you for having me.
Right, that was Bittrex Interim CEO Stephen Stonberg in Philadelphia. Coming up, stick around for NBA superstar Danny Green and how he's getting into crypto.
We are witnessing the greatest paradigm shift in finance in modern history. Join thousands of newsmakers and influencers talking the future of money at Consensus by CoinDesk. A live virtual experience of leaders, changemakers, virtual reality meetups, keynotes from Dalio, Gary Vaynerchuk, and much more. Get an up-close look at the boom in crypto, the surge of institutional investment in Bitcoin, NFT mania, the breakneck innovation in decentralized finance, and the coming disruption from central bank digital currencies. Join us May 24th to May 27th for Consensus by CoinDesk.
The CoinDesk Spotlight is brought to you by Nexo, the place to earn on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and more.
NBA superstar Danny Green is joining the NFT craze, auctioning off an augmented reality hologram of his 2020 LA Lakers NBA championship ring. Joining us now to discuss his Philadelphia 76ers guard, Danny Green. Welcome, Danny.
Thank you. Sorry about the atmosphere. I'm on a trip back I'm from New York.
Driving?
You guys don't know, so I got a chance to go.
We're on the road with you.
I stopped. I'm not driving. I stopped. I'm excited to discuss this with you guys on a road trip back to Philly because I'm from New York. I got my dogs with me. But I'm excited to discuss this. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Well, great to have you on, Danny. Glad you're not driving, but we're on the road with you. Okay, so you're partnering up with NFT startup New Renaissance for this non-fungible token drop. Tell us about this hologram NFT.
Yeah, it's not an exact replica of the ring. It's a version of it. Obviously, there's some restraints of what we could do with it, but it's a first of its kind. It's something that we were proud to do, wanted to do, and a lot of things that I do at the court now is not about the money. It's more about moving the culture forward and obviously giving back to the community. We just want to bring awareness to certain things. A portion of this will go toward to be donated toward charitable foundation, Blacks in Technology. So it's a lot of these things that I do now is to just move the culture forward and bring awareness to certain things that are going on outside of sports, and I think this could be huge.
Danny, welcome. How familiar are you with crypto? Are you personally into crypto? Do you have Bitcoin? When did you get into it?
I have a little bit of it. I'm learning as I go along. A lot of my friends have informed me. A lot of my friends are teaching me. But we all take some losses. I've had some losses in the past. We've had some wins, some gains. But I said I'm still learning as I go along. So I'm not that very well sound and read behind it, but I do understand a good part of it.
What attracted you to it? To crypto or Bitcoin? What about it did you think? Sorry, what attracted you to cryptocurrency or Bitcoin or whichever crypto you hold? What did you find cool about it initially?
I mean, I've seen a lot of people talking about it, and I've seen a lot of people, having big wins, and obviously talking about how things are changing digitally, virtually, and things are not having to be, I guess, in hand. So I thought that was pretty cool. I'm a big guy that's into technology. I'm a big guy that's into, I guess, trying to adapt and adjust to the new generation, the new wave, and new technology. So for me, it was just about trying to, I guess, trying to win on and off the court in various ways, but just adapting to the new technology, what's going on.
Danny, every office has that one guy who does not stop talking about crypto at the water cooler. You've played on a few teams. Who is that in the NBA?
Yes.
Who's the person who
we have a couple guys
talking? Name names.
We have a couple guys on this team in Philly. It wasn't a big thing in LA, Toronto. It was some years ago, so I think it's grown a lot more in the last couple of years. But this year, Tobias is one of those guys. Matisse is one of those guys. I actually talked to Joel. He's into quite a few different things. But yeah, those two guys would be Tobias and Matisse. Those guys are, I won't say really big on it, but they talk about it quite a bit. Every time we go in the locker room, there's a different exchange of what's going on with the market or this or crypto, and who's making wins, who's taking losses, and what they should have jumped in on early. I wish I was up this early to put some money in on this. So it's interesting because a lot of these guys are way ahead of their time, way before. I can't imagine when I was 23 even talking about or thinking about these things off the court. Even now, I'm still learning a lot, but it's interesting to see a lot of the league, a lot of the younger generation, and just teaching themselves, informing themselves about a lot of things off the court that they can, make money on or be involved in that can change their life or change other people's lives.
Do you have like a secret Facebook app or a Facebook group or WhatsApp group? Do you guys get together off?
I do have a WhatsApp group. I don't have a Facebook group. I chime in when I can. I try to read. They always telling what's going up, what's going down, what should we invest in, what things are happening. And that's how I learned quite a bit, just by reading my WhatsApp group with a group of friends that I have from New York. But yeah, I said no Facebook group, but we do keep updated. It's a different world. It's totally different. I remember when I was my first couple of years in the league, none of this was being discussed. I said Matisse is only a second-year guy. Tobias has been in the league for a little while, but a lot of these second and third-year guys are learning about it and very hip to it and understand it a lot better than I do.
Danny, if you want to get into some WhatsApp groups, hit me up. Also, I'm really surprised that the folks in Toronto did not get in on this because, Toronto's huge in on the crypto scene. So I also hit me up for that. But are you going to put a ring for Toronto? Sure. That's what I also want to know. Yeah, I'm from Toronto.
I still have would I bring my wife from Toronto?
A ring for Toronto, a hologram ring for Toronto.
I haven't even got my ring from Toronto yet. So when I get it, that will be a discussion. So that's the only ring that I haven't gotten yet that I own, I guess. But we haven't gone back to Toronto to receive the ring. So I'm waiting until Canada opens up the borders again. The team goes back to Toronto so I can actually play in the arena and receive my ring. So when that happens, I think we'll be having another discussion about this.
Danny, you seem to be Go ahead, Loris.
No, I was going to say you have 3 rings, three teams. You're now on another team. What are your chances? Do you think you can get 4 rings? You're going to walk around like Liberace with a lot of rings now this year? What are we looking at?
I hope so, man. We have a great team. We have a lot of potential. We did get home court advantage, and I don't know if you guys know anything about Philly and Philly fans, but they're aggressive. They help a ton. It's a tough place to play. I played there as an opposing team, and now being a part of the team, I think we have a real advantage of having home court. So I'm excited about it. I can't wait till more fans come in and they open up even more. But I think we have a really good shot. So all I can do is, pray, hope that we stay healthy and do the best I can by helping my guys and leading my guys into battle.
I see you are in NFTs. There are some, in San Francisco, the NBA team there is accepting sales tickets in crypto. I wonder, do you interact or use Bitcoin or buy up Bitcoin, or would you be interested in even receiving a salary in Bitcoin one day?
Definitely interested in it. I haven't said I'm not big on it right now, but definitely. And I know somebody has tried to do it in the past. I don't know if the league allowed him to do so, but yes, definitely interested in doing so in the future. I said I know it's the new wave, new generation, but as of right now, there's a lot of stipulations that I don't know if we're allowed to do that. And who knows what the world will be or the country will be, and the next 5 to 10 years, where the league may change for allow guys to be able to do so. But right now, I don't think we're allowed to.
What was your impression of the NFT process? I was playing around with NFTs a little bit, and they seem actually kind of hard to make. I mean, did you have people helping you? Or I personally found it a little bit challenging to actually make an NFT.
With most things with technology, I'm pretty good. With this, I felt very old. But at the same time, it didn't seem hard, or I had help. I had a lot of people helping me. The people around me are very great. They make things easy. But yeah, when I was first learning about it, it was kind of like me trying to learn Chinese. But it's been a pretty cool process. It's been smooth and it looks pretty simple. So yeah, that's why I was excited about it. I said a lot of the things that I'm doing now is not for the money. It's for different causes of the culture and bringing awareness to certain things, and also being able to donate to the community and helping blacks in technology, take it to the next step.
You mentioned you're from New York. Mayoral candidate Andrew Yang has repeatedly trashed the Knicks over the years in favor of the Nets. He said that a while ago, he said the Nets have leadership, culture, personnel, and a plan, while the Knicks only have hope. You're a New Yorker. You've played against teams. What is he right? How do you feel about the two teams as an outside observer, of course?
I never grew up a Knicks fan as a kid, but I would say he's incorrect. And there's a lot of people predicted the Knicks not to be great this year, but they've turned it around. Thibodeau has done a great job. That staff, that roster has done an amazing job here. And the 4-5 seed battle. So yeah, nobody could predict that, and I think it's great for the whole city of New York that the culture has grown in that sense. Both teams have grown. The Nets have become obviously a dominant force, and now the Knicks are a playoff team. So that those two teams combined, changing over that quickly, I think is kind of making the mayor eat his words a little bit.
All right, Danny. Thanks for stopping by the side of the road to chit chat with us. Have a
thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Back. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys. I will try my best. I'll get back safely.
Okay.
Thank you.
That is 3-time NBA champion and Philadelphia 76ers guard Danny Green. I think that was a first for an interview on the road. All right, coming up, crypto markets analysis with QCV Capital and a look at the headlines in Asia. Time now for the daily forecast, an update on what's happening in the Asia crypto markets. Here's Angie Lau of Forecast News.
Welcome to the Daily Forecast, May 21st, 2021. I'm Angie Lau. Let's get you up to speed from Asia to the world. Total market cap of the global cryptocurrency industry today, around $1.8 trillion as of the end of Asia trading hours. It's certainly not taking long for the market to rebound after losing almost $1 trillion of market cap at one point over this past week. But Bitcoin is still gasping for air. Its market dominance has recovered to just over 40% after dipping below this margin for the first time since the post-ICO era in 2018. TechFX Traders Director Tony Sycamore says many still regard Bitcoin as a safe haven.
We're looking for, hey, where do we take our lead from? And inevitably, we take our lead from the US equity market, whether it be the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ. And I think that still remains the case for Bitcoin.
But nipping at the heels, Ethereum, its percentage of the total crypto market inching closer to 20% the last time this happened, also post-ICO of 2018.
Long-term speaking, though, I'm much more bullish, or I think there's a lot more upside potential with Ethereum, simply because the activity on Ethereum is just magnificent.
We also spoke to FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried today, who says the trigger wasn't the interesting part of the Bitcoin crash story, but the cascade effect that followed.
I don't think this is caused by the world changing its mind on crypto, right? I don't think it was really caused by economic fundamentals. I think it was 10% of it was that, 90% just liquidations. And so it's sort of an accident, but it was a huge accident.
The preferred crypto haven for now, Bitcoin down 0.5% as of 4 p.m. local Hong Kong time. And in the top 10 for cryptocurrencies, Internet Computer, ICP, getting the nod across the board, according to aggregators that combines all crypto data from all the biggest exchanges, down 11.7% and is the 9th largest crypto by market cap. And now for a bit of crypto meets real world. Art Basel, one of the most prominent art shows in the world, is back in Hong Kong after a year-long pause because of the COVID-19 pandemic. According to the 2021 UBS Global Art Market Report, millennial high net worth collectors were the highest spenders of art in 2020, with 30% having spent over $1 million. But how many of those collectors are now considering adding an NFT to their portfolio? Well, Sotheby's auction house seems to think a lot, especially in Asia. Their second NFT auction kicks off next month, and that's after their first NFT auction brought in nearly $17 million in sales.
In Hong Kong and Asia, I think too, like there will be like a lot of interest from our current and traditional collectors, because like it's very young, the current pool of collectors acting in our contemporary art sales in Hong Kong. They are like between 20 to 35 years old, and this is the kind of like the generation actually that I think will be very keen to look at like the different artists and works that stand out in this new medium.
Millions of dollars entering the world of NFTs and art at the forefront of its adoption. And I'll leave you with this. Did you know that the trading volume of Tether USDT stablecoins outpaced the top 3 crypto, Bitcoin, Ether, and BNB, in the last 24 hours? I'm talking about the top 3 combined. Tether has received some backlash, as you know, since it released its reserves. Yesterday, CTO Paolo Ardoino told me that despite the backlash, investors are still flocking to Tether when things get difficult. Hey, it's just part of the game, he says. Full interview coming next week on Forecast.news. And that's the Daily Forecast. I'm Angie Lau. Until next week.
The Crypto Markets Update is presented by Grayscale, the world's largest digital currency asset manager.
Let's have a live look on Bitcoin. The CoinDesk Bitcoin price XBX index is currently at 41,064. It's down about 3% over the past 24 hours. And the CoinDesk Ether price ETX index is trading at 2704. ETH is tumbling about almost 10% over the past 24 hours. And joining us now to discuss the crypto markets is QCP Capital CEO Darius Sit in Singapore. Welcome, Darius.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me.
So Darius, would love to get your outlook on the crypto markets, what we've seen with the volatility lately, and especially what the action and sentiment has been in Asia.
Well, I think, everyone is a little caught by surprise at the shock move down. But the vol markets actually sort of preempted the move down on Monday, when Bitcoin was still trading above 40,000+. We saw vols go up from about 100 or 90 to 100 implied to about 150 to 200 implied. So I think the vol markets were getting very shaky even before the plunge, and even before this, we saw a lot of buyers of puts, which were in huge sizes that we seldom see, and this was sort of preempting the market a week before the crash happened. With that said, I think if you compare this crash to the crash in March last year, stability has come back quite well. The bounce has been quite positive, and there've been a lot of buyers on the desk. So I'm quite constructive here for a move up towards 50,000.
Darius, we saw some Bitcoin leave the OTC desks, and we saw a lot more though go onto exchanges. So, are we seeing more from where you are? Do you see more selling pressure from retail customers, or do you see more future buying pressure from institutions starting to come on?
Oh yeah, we're definitely seeing that. For us, we focus a lot on options. So we've seen a lot of interest in this, and the options market has been very, 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 very great to trade. I think on this dip, we've been seeing a lot of buyers, and more particularly in Asia, I think the interest has been in derivatives. So that's why we have so much volatility, right? A lot of the interest has been in leverage trading. That's something that's big in Asia, and so you see the volumes on the perpetual swaps on the various exchanges, shadow the volumes in spot. So I think for us, the spot buying has been quite consistent, but the swings come mostly from the derivative market.
And are they from from institutions or from retail? Where are you seeing it come from mostly?
Well, for Asia, most of the flow comes from high net worth family offices. Institutions, not so much yet. So I think that will be the next stage. But for now, it's mostly family offices and high net worth individuals.
Two of the most commonly cited factors for this week's crash were Elon Musk and sort of fear of this new China warning. How big a role do you think those two factors played in the crash?
The China warning was nothing new. Sort of reiteration of a stance that was already there. So I don't think that the China warning was that big a deal, to be honest. Elon Musk, of course, affects sentiment quite directly. But to be honest, I think these people are blaming these two reasons, but the fact is that the market was overheated in terms of leverage, right? The leverage levels have gone way beyond where they've historically been. So a correction like this was due. And like I said, in the option market, you saw there was a lot of short gamma in the market, meaning like a lot of the whole market was the short puts. So when a move happens like this, and you have some news that causes the market to tick down, it triggers stops. The option guys who have these positions on have to cut their losses, and that's exactly what we saw.
So Darius, where do we go from here?
Well, I think the spot buying has been very positive. I think a lot of the leverage has been washed out, and I think if you look at all the large movements in the crypto market, it tends to be driven by leveraging and deleveraging cycles. So I think we've had a very, very sharp and fast deleveraging cycle that has happened. Altcoins correcting 50%, Bitcoin correcting 30-40%. So with a lot of that washed out and the funding rate starting to normalize, to give space for guys to come in and put the leverage back on. And you can see that guys have been chasing this. I think going forward in the short term, the market is short gamma to the top side, meaning that if we tick up, it could be a possible sharp move higher as guys get stopped out on their shorts. So I think in the short term, probably a nice push up. But I would be cautious for the second half of the year, because I think there's a lot of uncertainty there, and a lot of the corporates who have bought on the way up could take profit as well. So I'm bullish short term, but a bit uncertain in the second half of the year.
All right, Darius, thanks for sharing your insights from the Asian markets with us.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Right, that was QCP Capital CEO Darius Sit. Time now to check in with CoinDesk Global Policy and Regulation Managing Editor Nick Day, who is also the editor of CoinDesk's The State of Crypto newsletter. Hello there, Nick. Welcome to the show. So, yesterday we talked about the IRS. The U.S. Treasury is now calling for businesses to report crypto transfers of more than $10,000 to the IRS. Do you have an update or further thoughts on that?
Yeah, so this actually looks like you're really aligning crypto transactions with what the current requirements are for cash. We saw this kind of same proposal come through FinCEN at the end of December as part of the really controversial rule change proposal that that FinCEN proposed at the time. But this was the part that most parties kind of said, this is reasonable. This is basically what the cash requirements are. It makes sense that crypto transactions, should be treated similarly.
So, in practical terms, what does this mean? Are we going to start seeing this box checked off in the on your tax returns or corporate tax returns, or does it require any kind of oversight from Congress, or can the Treasury just implement this in the upcoming year?
I'm not sure about the specifics of how the IRS might implement this, but it sounds like this is more going to be on the exchange side, or on the, if a financial institution of some kind is receiving more than $10,000 in a transaction, or $10,000 in aggregate transactions in a single day. It would be incumbent on the institution to be reporting this to the IRS versus the individual. The individual, I think, would still have to pay the taxes, but that, again, right now the way it works is the exchanges file a tax form to the IRS, and then the individual, traders or users have to make sure that what they're reporting aligns with what the exchange reported.
Nick, there seems to be some updates on the status of the digital dollar, or the U.S.'s plans for a digital dollar. What is happening in that area?
Yeah, so yesterday, Fed Chair Powell gave a speech where he said that there is going to be a paper published this summer about the Fed's research into a CBDC. This is nothing new. He said this in March. We have had numerous outlets treat this as like a breaking news story, but he said the exact same thing he said 2 months ago. There's going to be a research paper published this summer. It's going to address concerns like privacy and consumer protection. And, my guess is we're not going to see anything, about the Fed actually committing to publishing a digital dollar, but we'll get a better sense of how they're looking at this and how they're approaching this, and, what some of the concerns are that the Fed might have around the use of digital currencies in the U.S.
All right, Nick, thanks for the update. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.
That was CoinDesk Managing Editor of Global Policy and Regulation, Nick Day. Don't forget to sign up for the State of Crypto newsletter on CoinDesk.com. Time now to check in with Crypto Twitter with our tweet of the day. This one coming in from the Bitcoin Pizza. And just as a reminder, on May 22nd, which is tomorrow, the first ever exchange of goods for Bitcoin happened when 2 Papa John's pizzas sold for $10,000 Bitcoin. So Bitcoin Pizza tweeting that Bitcoin Pizza would be worth over $410,000 right now. I hope that was really delicious pizza.
$410 million. That's it.
Sorry, 410 million. Sorry about that. Got to add those extra zeros.
Yeah, no one should ever pay that for
all right.
Terrible pizza.
All right. That's it for First Mover. All next week. Keep it here on CoinDesk.com for special programs and coverage of Consensus 2021. You can still register and get tickets at events.coindesk.com. Thank you, Emily Parker, our CoinDesk Managing Director of International Content, and Lawrence Lewitinn, Managing Editor of Global Capital Markets. I'm your host, Christine Lee. I'll be back live at 3 p.m. with All About Bitcoin. Coming up at noon is The Hash. You're watching CoinDesk TV.